Let me guess, you're here because you've been scouring the internet about ways to sleep train your baby without using Cry It Out. You're in the right place. My name is Sarah, and I am a certified pediatric sleep consultant and owner of Your Zen Baby Sleep. I'm here to teach you everything that you need to know about sleep training your little one without using Cry It Out by implementing the chair method. Sleep training is actually not just about the method. There are lots of pieces to the puzzle when it comes to our little one's sleep. So I really want to make sure that you are set up for success before I even teach you about what the chair method is. So number one, when you're looking at your sleep environment, I want it to be really sleep inducing. I'm sure if you're here, you've already started to do this. You've already laid the foundation for a really sleep inducing sleep environment. However, what I want you to check is number one, your sound machine. I want it on pure white noise, like the fan sound. I don't want rain, I don't want ocean waves, and I definitely don't want lullabies. The reason being, this can be really stimulating for your little one's brain, especially as they're naturally transitioning sleep cycles. So make sure that you go to the sound machine and find pure white or even brown and pink noise. Make sure that the white noise is set to about 70 to 75 decibels. Now, disclaimer, that's pretty loud. This is the new research that came out in the last couple months that said 70 to 75 decibels are the best for inducing slow brain waves during sleep. However, if you feel uncomfortable with that volume, feel free to use the old research, which is 50 to 60 decibels. Finally, I want to make sure that the environment is between 68 to 72 degrees. This is going to be the best temperature so that your little one is not too cold and not too hot. I want to make sure that your baby is dressed appropriately for sleep. So, depending on their age, they may still be in a sleep sack. Making sure that we're using a sleep sack that has the right TOG rating. So the smaller the number on the rating, the lighter the sleep sack. And that usually means that we'll be using that either in warmer weather areas or warmer weather months. And then the higher the TOG rating, the thicker the sleep sack, which we'll be using when we have a cooler weather month or cooler weather areas. If your child is too old to wear a sleep sack, then incorporating some type of a blanket that they can pull over themselves, or just making sure that we're dressing them in really comfy and cozy pajamas. Also, if your little one is old enough, over the age of 12 months old, incorporate a comfort object. This can be really helpful as we transition from being rocked or nursed or cuddled to sleep and trying to fall asleep on our own. So incorporating a lovey or a stuffy. And this is another tip, wearing the lovey can be really comforting to your child. So having your scent and then associating that positively with sleep and having something to soothe themselves can be wonderful. One thing that I want you to think about dropping completely is the pacifier. If your child is using a pacifier and they're under the age of 6 months old and you are embarking on sleep training, just ditch it now. Listen, the pacifier is going to have to go out the window eventually. It's easier to do it now. And at this stage of the game, your child cannot reinsert the pacifier. So it can really hinder your success with sleep training if we continue to use the pacifier. All right, let's talk about schedule. So I know that your sleep environment is going to be set up. I know that your child's going to be nice and comfortable and ready for sleep. But schedule is such an important part of the whole sleep puzzle. I want you to ditch wake times. Yes, I said it. Yes, it might be inducing some panic in you because there's so much in the internet world about wake times and how to use them and at what age we should use them. I think that they are valuable. I know that they do work for some babies. However, for many babies, wake times don't account for the sensitivity that they have to their biological sleep need. So at certain times on the clock, our bodies produce sleepy hormones, melatonin and adenosine. And at these times on the clock, I want our little ones to be sleeping so that they can fall asleep more easily, independently, so that they can stay asleep longer, and they can take advantage of deep non-REM sleep. So I'm going to show you some sample schedules, and these would be examples based on their age. So follow the sample schedules according to your child's age and according to the amount of naps they need, being flexible plus or minus 30 minutes. So keep in mind your baby is a human and not a robot. So they might not fall in line exactly with these times, but as their body adjusts to sleeping at the best time, you're going to see that their sleep structure is going to be so much easier to follow throughout this sleep training journey. You set up the sleep environment, you have a really great sleep schedule, and now it's time to establish a solid sleep routine. Babies, toddlers, preschool aged kids, guess what? They love structure. They love to know what is coming next and in which order to expect it. So you don't have to go crazy with your routine. I don't want it to take 45, 60 minutes. It can be something simple, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And it can include a bath on bath nights, quick change into the pajamas, 1 or 2 books, a little bit of rock, maybe a lullaby, and then we're gonna put the baby in the crib. If you do have a toddler or a preschooler, it can be helpful to have some type of a visual chart that you can use to move the routine along that they can follow, and to make sure that we're not dealing with lots of bedtime stalling, which is pretty typical and appropriate at this age. When your child understands what routine to follow, they are going to more easily fall asleep. You can use this routine also for naps, just a shorter version of it, so that they do understand when I put my PJs on or sleep sack on, and when I get my lovey, and when I hear the sound machine and I go into my crib or my bed and the lights go out, that cues sleep. Now the meat and potatoes. This is what you've been waiting for. How to run the chair method. First of all, I want you to keep in mind that we are changing the way that our baby or toddler or preschool child is falling asleep. Typically what this means is they are not going to be happy. They're learning something new and they're tired. All of these 3 things mean that there likely will be crying or protest if your child is older. This is a natural part of the sleep training process, and it really is the #1 roadblock for parents as they do try to establish independent sleep habits. I want you to know that your child is okay. You are teaching healthy sleep in order to benefit their growth and their development. So they are allowed to protest and be unhappy and tell you that they are unhappy. And you, as the parent, are allowed to hold and establish the boundary because you are making a choice of what you know is going to be healthy and beneficial for your child. When we implement a sleep training method with lots of support and with a plan and understanding what we're going to be walking through, this usually reduces the amount of crying or the intensity of crying. And the crying is going to vary based on the age and, other factors and circumstances, but usually after the first couple nights that crying will reduce greatly over time. So the routine is done. And I want you to put your child in their crib or in their bed completely awake. And we are going to have the lights shut off and the sound machine on. You will place a chair right next to their bed or crib. And what I want you to do is just sit in the chair and be present for your child. You can do soothing interventions, such as maybe singing a lullaby or providing some positive feedback, such as, I love you so much and you're doing so great. I love that you're laying in your crib or your bed all by yourself. Now, this sounds really ideal, but realistically, I know you know what's going on in your head. There's no way my child is just laying there happily listening to me, giving them positive feedback. They're going to be upset. And again, this is where I need you to take a deep breath and say, it will get better and they will learn how to do this. You know that your child is brilliant and so do I. So as you're sitting there in the chair, I want you to stay grounded. I want you to take some deep breaths, and I really want you to think about being present in the moment. Some things that I do encourage parents to do while they are running the chair method, if it is really agitating for you to be listening to your child protest, pop your earbuds in. So get a podcast on, get some music, get something calming. You're gonna be there for a while because I want you to be in the chair and sitting there next to their crib or bed until they fall asleep. How long can you expect to be sitting in the chair at bedtime? It really varies based on the age and the developmental level of the child. I have had families who I've worked with one-on-one go from anywhere from 20 minutes all the way up to an hour and a half. So this is a method that's really involved. It's very supportive, but sometimes because we are very involved and very supportive, it means that our child might protest a little bit more. And that's okay. It's really important on your end to remember that you should be modeling sleep. So when we're sleeping, we are keeping that verbal interaction very limited, and we are going to make sure that we are as quiet as possible so that our little one has the space and opportunity to fall asleep on their own. I want you to sit in the chair until they fall asleep. And then, as soon as they're asleep, you leave the room. And in the middle of the night, the next time they wake up, I want you to go back into the chair. And you will continue to do the chair method in the middle of the night until they fall back asleep. And then we can start our day once your desired wake time comes in the morning. You may have a question about naps. Do we night train at the same time as nap train? Yes. This is definitely the recommendation, is to be very black and white in our structure and in our teaching method for our children when we are sleep training at night. We want to provide the same method for naps. So what I want you to make sure you're doing is following that set schedule for the age of your child. But the accommodation that we are going to make is putting them into their crib or bed about 20 minutes before the set start time for the nap. We can expect that their protest will last probably beyond that 20 minutes, to be honest with you, in those first couple days. We can also expect that they may skip a nap. So the process is sit in the chair, support your child through the nap until they fall asleep. When they wake up at any point, you're going to do a happy dance and you're going to pull them out of the room and go about your day. If they skip a nap, I want you to move the next nap time earlier by about 30 to 60 minutes, or I want you to move bedtime earlier by 60 minutes. After 3 days of having the chair next to the crib, what I want you to do is move the chair to the middle of the room for the next 3 nights and nap days. Now, I understand that many of us do not live in these ginormous houses with these really large nurseries. So the chair in the middle of the room might actually only be like a foot away where it was before. However, the idea is that moving the chair further away is going to now remove some physical support that you may have been providing and teach your child that it is okay to have some space between you. So we started the process of sleep with baby in our arms, more than likely, and now we're transitioning to baby being in the crib, and now we're transitioning to us being outside of the crib or the bed, and now we're just a little bit further away. And you can see how this transition will slowly have the child get used to having less and less support from you. After 3 days in the middle of the room, I want you to spend 3 days in the doorway, and then I want you to spend the last 3 days in the hallway where the child cannot see you but can hear your voice, and you support verbally with your voice. After the 12 days of running the chair method, you can then switch to a method like time checks and go in and check on your child every 5 to 10 minutes as they fall asleep. However, if you have followed this method consistently to a T at every single bedtime and every single night waking, you should see your goals accomplished at the end of the 12 days. You may have more specific questions about the chair method. What about if I'm incorporating a night feeding, and can I? Absolutely. You can absolutely incorporate a night feeding if it is developmentally appropriate for your child. What about if I'm doing the chair method with a toddler who's in a big kid bed and they get out of bed? That is absolutely going to be a situation that you encounter. And how do I troubleshoot naps if it's really, really hard and it doesn't seem like the chair method is working for my child? All of those things are very specific scenarios that I work one-on-one with families in order to help troubleshoot. So if you are trying the chair method and you feel like you need more personalized support, day in and day out from a certified sleep consultant, that's what I'm here for. I would love for you to check out my packages and my pricing and the way that I support families by heading over to my website. You'll find the link to my website in the description, and feel free to book a call with me so that I can assess your sleep situation and get you started this week on getting better sleep for your family, because guess what? You deserve better sleep, and so does your child. Once again, my name is Sarah, and as a certified pediatric sleep consultant who has helped over 350 families get more sleep, I really hope that you found this video helpful. Leave a like to let me know if you found this helpful, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to turn on the notifications to get the latest updates for all of my sleep content and all of my new posts coming your way. From my living room to yours, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.